Welcome to Unity Church of Sun Lake's lesson for July 31st, 2022. Today, to wrap up the month of July, I thought I would take a couple of different ideas that I have been studying lately in my Unity classes. This class is called The Teachings of Jesus. And I thought I would apply the WWCD question to them. The what question? Remember the bracelets that people would wear, or the stickers and other things that would say WWJD? What would Jesus do? And while I think this is a great question, here's another good question for us. What would Charles do? Heck, what would Jesus and Charles do? You know, Charles Fillmore, co-founder, our Unity co-founder. We can learn a lot from the way these spiritual masters approached life. I have spent a lot of time in my most recent Unity classes studying the teachings of Jesus. In preparation for this talk, I have also had my nose stuck in the New Testament quite a bit. And I think it is important for you to know from which version of the Bible I am quoting, because as you know, there are many versions, and this biblical stuff can get confusing. For example, a 10-year-old girl under the tutelage of her grandmother was becoming quite knowledgeable about the Bible. Then, one day, she floored her grandmother by asking, "Grandma, which virgin was Jesus' mother?" "What on earth do you mean?" asked her astonished grandmother. "Well," said the little girl, "was she the Virgin Mary or the King James Version?" Virgin. So just to let you know, I am not going to be quoting this morning from the King James Version, but from the Lamsa Version, which is translated from ancient Aramaic text, which I received from Reverend Debbie Brown. It's a very special Bible to me. But I wanted more than this. I had a desire to explore the Gospel of Thomas, which is a gospel discovered in Egypt over 50 years ago, but which I have never read. So I've had my nose stuck in that, and also the book of James. In the introduction to it, in the book of Thomas, Lynn Bowman, who translated it, writes, "Jesus, the master of wisdom, an essential core lost to the West and replaced by Jesus, the object of dogma, has been recovered in the sands of Egypt. The gospel, long known by name, but having disappeared from history, was recovered and translated by scholars, causing great excitement and much consternation. It portrayed a very different Jesus from the one we have come to know through the centuries. In Thomas's gospel, Jesus is presented as the master of wisdom. But what is this wisdom? It is clear from a careful reading of Thomas that the wisdom tradition that it expresses is beyond the conventional wisdom of Israel. In it are strains of teachings that see some orienting as far away as Taoist China, Buddhist Tibet, and Mesdian Persia, as well as aspects of Jewish wisdom and its nascent mysticism, the Essenes. If the Gospel of Thomas is representative, he may also have absorbed vast amounts of what he heard, synthesizing it into a new form, according to some deep inner seeing. The protestation, where did you get all of this? gives evidence of the shock that his non-traditional wisdom had on the ears of those who anticipated the expected. Thomas presents Jesus as a sage whose wisdom not only transcended local expectations, but who was capable of grasping something far more universal than we have been led to believe. So this morning I want to present 3 situations or questions and look at what Jesus and Charles had to say about them. Before we find out what Jesus and Charles had to say, I'm going to pose a question to you. Here's the first. Do you have a person in your life that you do not like? Someone you would consider an enemy? Perhaps an individual? A government? My guess is you answered yes to some portion of those questions, correct? Well, what would Jesus and Charles have to say about that? Jesus is very, very clear at Luke 6, beginning at verse 32. For if you love only those who love you, what is your blessing? And if you do good only to those who do good to you, what is your blessing? But love your enemies and do good to them, so your reward will increase and you will become sons, and I add, and daughters of the highest. Be therefore merciful, as your Father is also merciful. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. And Charles Fillmore writes in Talks on Truth, love taketh not account of evil. And I want to interject here. Think of love as principle. Think of God as principle. Principle all good. Love taketh not account of evil. Love never sees anything wrong in that which it loves. If it did, it would not be pure love. Pure love is without discriminating power. It simply pours itself out upon the object of its affection and takes no account of the result. By so doing, love sometimes casts its pearls before swine. But its power is so great that it transforms all that it touches. Once at a conference where Dr. Michael Beckwith was speaking and someone asked him, how do you stay aligned with your vision? His answer was a surprise to those in the audience. He said, I pray for and bless my enemies. Those who have harmed me, those who have treated me unfairly or judged me harshly. I pray for them and I bless them first. Radical forgiveness concept. How many of you are familiar with that? I have several books on radical forgiveness. Consider the notion that every situation in our lives, local or global, is here to help us evolve. That means you and me, every situation. That's why it's called radical. Given these ideas, I invite you this morning to have a new perspective on the one you would consider an enemy. You will have a chance to do that in a few minutes. But first, a couple more questions. Do you have something in your material life right now that you are worried about? Think about it for a moment. Get a picture of it in your mind as we listen to what our dynamic duo has to say about that. The greatest spiritual lesson on prosperity appears at Matthew chapter 6, verses 25 through 34. For this reason I say to you, do not worry for your life, what you will eat and what you will drink, nor for your body, what you will wear. Behold, is not life much more important than food, and the body than clothing? Observe the birds of the sky, for they do not sow, neither do they harvest, nor gather into barns, and yet your Father in heaven feeds them. Are you not much more important than they? Who is among you who by worry can add 1 cubit to his stature? Why do you worry about clothing? Observe the wild flowers, how they grow. They do not get tired, nor do they spin. But I say to you that not even Solomon, with all his glory, was arrayed like one of them. Now, if God clothes in such fashion the grass of the field, which today and tomorrow falls into the fireplace, is he not much more mindful of you, O you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry or say, what will we eat or what will we drink? Or with what will we be clothed? For worldly people seek after these things. Your Father in heaven knows that all of these things are also necessary for you. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will look after itself. What would Charles do? Charles writes in the book Prosperity, page 110. The eternal law of spirit goes right on operating, regardless of what you may think, say, or do. It is ordained that love will bring you prosperity, and you need not wonder whether it will or how it will. Do not worry. Worry is a thief and a robber, for it keeps your good from you. Banish worry by quietly and confidently affirming the drawing power of divine love as the constantly active magnet that attracts your unfailing supply. A good affirmation to rout worry is one like this. So repeat after me. Divine love bountifully supplies and increases substance to meet my every need. Let's say it again. Divine love bountifully supplies and increases substance to meet my every need. You know, we go so far with our faith and then it falls off. I remember watching a playoff game of the Phoenix Suns many, many years ago. Certainly not recent. I remember this vividly because I wrote them off when they were down by 5 points with under 1 minute left. You know how they do all those free throws and everything, and I shut it off. I thought, oh well, there's always the next game. But what happened? They came back thundering and won the game, and I thought to myself, oh ye of little faith. And wondered how many times I had written something off as hopeless just as at the last minute, as it was about to explode into fruition. Reverend David Owen Ritz says Jesus' statement, "O ye of little faith," really means, "Oh, you knuckleheads." The second part to question number 2. So what do I need to do to manifest? In Matthew chapter 7, verses 7 through 11, ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. For whoever asks believing receives. And he who seeks finds. And him who knocks, the door is opened. Who is the man among you who, when his son asks him for bread, will hand him a stone? Or if he should ask him for fish, will he hand him a snake? If therefore you, who err, know how much to give good gifts to your sons, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? In the book of Thomas, it says, what are you looking for? No, what you are looking for is already here. You simply have not recognized it. Charles Fillmore writes in Prosperity, we mold omnipresent substance with our mind and make from it all the things that our mind conceives. If we conceive lack and poverty, we mold that. If we visualize with a bountiful eye, we mold plenty from the ever-present substance. There's perhaps no step in spiritual unfoldment more important than the one we are taking here. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about prosperity guru Edwene Gaines. She spent a good deal of time writing about being clear and specific about what it is we desire to experience. And she charged her readers with setting 10 great goals within 24 hours of reading her prosperity book. And in it she said, if we didn't do it within that time frame, we probably wouldn't do it at all. Was she right? Remember, I asked you to make a list a couple weeks ago of 12 goals. Did you do it? And when you found the 12 goals, you were to write more specifically how, the steps to achieve those goals. Did you do it? The doggies did it. I'm at the beautiful Reverend Maria Blanding's house and Kate Turner, and I'm standing in front of a beautiful quilt from Africa. I'm pet sitting while they're away for a bit. Back to the goals. I did it, by the way. Being clear and specific is important, and because we have built our faith in the all good, let's even stretch and create some goals and intentions that seem beyond our ability to them. I love this wisdom from author Tracy Goss in her book, The Last Word on Power. She says, set impossible goals. Meaning goals we really don't know how to achieve. But then that is not our business, is it? The what is ours, but the how, that's God's. Brother Ishmael Tate always says, if your dreams and goals don't cause you to shake in your boots, they aren't big enough. God, or principle, knows nothing of big and small. Charles Fillmore writes in Prosperity, God is back of every material symbol. And it is God, rather than the symbol, that we should put our faith in. Jesus said all we need to do is ask in faith and in his name, believing that we receive, and we shall have. And we should not hesitate to ask largely, for God can give much as easily as he can give little. Of course, there is the story of a poor man walking in the forest, feels close enough to ask God, God, what is 1,000,000 years to you? God replies, my son, 1,000,000 years to you is like a second to me. The man asks God, what is $1,000,000 to you? And God replies, my son, $1,000,000 to you is less than a penny to me. It means almost nothing to me. The man asks, so God, can I have $1,000,000? And God replies, sure, my son, in a second. You know what? I don't believe that story. Number 3, let's move to our last question. Have you ever come up against something so large that you thought to yourself, this is going to take a miracle to resolve it? Talked about miracles in our class with Dennis the other day. So our WWJD and WWCD question is, how do we become miracle workers? And the answers are so beautifully in sync. In Thomas, he writes, when you are able to transform 2 into 1, then you too will become son of humanity. And it will be possible for you to say to a mountain, move, and it will move. Charles Fillmore writes in Talks on Truth, the way to do this is the way Jesus did it. He acknowledged himself to be the Son of God. The attainment of the Christ consciousness calls for nothing less on our part than a definite recognition of ourselves as sons of God, right here and now. Regardless of appearances to the contrary. we know that we are sons of God, then why not acknowledge it and proceed to take possession of our God right? That is what Jesus did in the face of most adverse conditions. And of course, we're all familiar with the miracles that both Charles and Myrtle Fillmore did exactly that, to heal their physical bodies. Charles writes in Talks on Truth, page 88, "Your being is in heaven. The spiritual consciousness. You descended from that high estate. You belong there now. You are there now if you will but realize it and will but comply with the laws of heaven. God is here now in our very midst. The Spirit is here, taking account of our every thought. The Father loves us with his infinite love. We are his in truth and must be his in consciousness. Or put simply by Jesus at Matthew chapter 7, verse 20. Thus by their fruit you will know them. It is time we stop talking about what Jesus and Charles did and start doing what they did. Let's be the people who do this. Let us be the people who demonstrate the all good. There is a poem on the wall of Charles de Gaulle Airport, written in black felt pen. It has been there for years, and over the years people have inked it in where it had started to fade. It reads, I need your hands. I live in heaven, so I have no hands to work on this earth, or no feet to run the roads, no arms to embrace the children. So I have need of you. So I have made you. With your hands I can touch your brothers and sisters. With your eyes I can see their souls. With your feet I can walk and contemplate and reveal the kingdom right here on earth. With your compassion, I can heal the wounded. With your presence, I can comfort the afflicted. With your prayers, I can free troubled spirits and hearts. And with you, I can bring forth miracles. So tell me, can I count on you? And for our closing, we'll do our affirmation, the one we've chosen to do all summer, unless you've chosen another one. I am loved, I am love, I love. I am loved, I am loved, I love, I am loved, I am loved, I love. God bless each and every one of you. Go out there, create miracles, which we know are not miracles. It's just the way it is. When we know who we are in truth, sons and daughters of God. Namaste. God bless.